Alabama border, but Louisiana's under the gun too. Skylar Henry has the latest in a place where they're expected to get hit hard.
Heavy rain flooded roadways and kicked up waves in the Gulf Coast as Hurricane Sally crawled closer to the region at 2 miles per hour.
If you're under evacuation orders, please heed that, those orders.
Forecasters say the biggest threat from the slow-moving storm could be an immense amount of rain. That may trigger life-threatening flooding from Florida to Mississippi.
Everything is scary right now.
Thousands of people like Janet Ryan have already packed up and left their homes.
I packed up what I need for maybe a couple of weeks because I don't know how much water there'll be here.
Coastal casinos like these in Mississippi also closed ahead of the storm.
Officials here in Biloxi say that they're anticipating historic amounts of rain. You can see water already spilling onto the sidewalk here. And some people aren't concerned about the hurricane at this point, despite some roads being blocked off.
Alabama Governor Kay Ivey closed beaches in her state and urged people in low-lying areas to leave.
With any tropical storm, the only thing you can predict is that things will change hour by hour.
The city of New Orleans is expected to avoid the worst of the storm, but officials there are still warning residents to be prepared.
The mandatory evacuation, it remains in place. We're not letting any guards down at all.
Forecasters expect Sally to eventually weaken into a tropical storm and then a tropical depression before moving into Georgia sometime early Friday.
Sally is closest to the U.S., but only one of 4 named storms we've been watching, and it is the earliest S storm in recorded history. And Riley, that speaks to the season we're having out there right now.
Definitely is record-setting out there. Not the first storm to be the earliest on record either. We've done that multiple times this year. And with Sally, it is going to be a weaker storm by the time it reaches us, but still bringing significant rainfall. We already have our western counties underneath a flash flood watch. This does include places like Warren County, Jefferson County, Wilkes County, Washington County. This is going to stay in effect until Friday morning at 8 a.m. for that threat of the potential for flash flooding over the next few days. We are still keeping an eye on Sally, Category 1 storm, not moving all that quickly, which once again is why we're really tracking this flash flood threat. The heavy rainfall along the Gulf Coast is going to be significant for them. They are expecting to see this rainfall move in and then finally see the system move onshore by tomorrow morning, and then a much weaker system by the time it reaches us as a tropical depression, but still bringing significant rain. We're going to have much more on that full forecast in about 10 minutes.
Riley, thank you. After hours of debate, the South Carolina eligible to vote absentee now. A spokesperson for the governor confirms the governor will sign this bill into law. We're going to hear from South Carolina lawmakers tonight on News 12 at 6 o'clock.
About 100 people protested at the State House calling for lawmakers to fully open up South Carolina. The group wants Governor Henry McMaster to end his state of emergency. They also want cities and counties across the state to remove any mask ordinances. The rally organizer says lawmakers should make the economy a higher priority. Health experts say masks and social distancing are the only tools we have right now against this pandemic.
And just into our newsroom, Georgia Governor Brian Kemp signing a new executive order extending his previous COVID-19 order by 2 more weeks. This order takes effect tomorrow at 12 a.m. and it runs through the 30th of September. There are no changes to restrictions for businesses. The shelter-in-place order is still in effect for those in nursing homes. Visitations will be allowed as long as they follow the DPH guidelines. This order also continues to include a large gathering ban of 50 people unless social distancing is maintained.
Aiken County Council will meet tonight at 7 to talk about the animal ordinance again. Shelters are seeing more strays and dog attacks on other animals, and county leaders are hoping to push this forward for a 4th time. They'll also talk about enforcement penalties and rabies control. Coming up tonight on News 12 at 6 o'clock, you'll hear from a local animal welfare group who says this is desperately needed in the county.
The suspects involved in a string of shootings in Wilkes County have been arrested. Delonte Harris is behind bars in Athens. Rodriguez Collier is behind bars in Wilkes County. The shootings happened on September the 9th and the 14th. 2 children were shot and suffered injuries in the first shooting. They have been released from the hospital. In the second shooting, a man was shot and he's still recovering in a hospital. The GBI is investigating whether to find out if these shootings are connected, but both suspects are charged with aggravated assaults. SLED now says they have correctly identified the suspect involved in a shooting that happened at Allen University on Friday. 25-year-old Kashan Nickens is from Denmark in Bamberg County. SLED says Nickens gave them fake information during his arrest. Law enforcement says they were able to figure it out using fingerprints. Nickens had other outstanding warrants for his arrest before Friday's shooting.
The Georgia man beaten by a former Georgia deputy in a viral arrest video is bonded out of jail. Clayton County released Wrdw Walker from jail yesterday, but he faces some charges in another county. A judge granted Walker a $25,000 bond for the charges he faced in this incident with Clayton County deputies, but then he was transferred over to Fulton County because he had some active warrants there before this stop in Clayton County ever happened. Walker was riding in a Lyft when the car was pulled over by a Clayton County deputy for a broken taillight. The deputy reportedly asked for Walker's ID, and when he questioned why his ID was needed, Walker was asked to step out of the car. Now to an update on the case of Breonna Taylor. The city of Louisville, Kentucky has agreed to pay $12 million to Taylor's family. Louisville Mayor Greg Fisher, Taylor's family, and their attorneys all announcing that settlement today. As part of the settlement, the city agreed to create a housing credit program as an incentive for officers to live in the areas they serve, to use social workers to provide support on certain police calls, and require commanders to approve search warrants before getting a judge to sign off. Taking a look at coronavirus cases statewide, about 1,500 new cases in Georgia as the state creeps closer to the 300,000 case mark. 48 more people have died. In South Carolina, just over 700 new cases. 22 more people have died, with nearly 3,000 COVID deaths across the state.
And at our local hospitals, daily cases have been staying low. AU Health with 24 new cases, but we've been used to seeing them in the hundreds there. University, doctors, and the Charlie Norwood VA all with 5 or fewer new cases today. University Hospital still has 47 COVID patients in-house. But AU Health and doctors now have fewer patients both, and we're waiting to hear back from Aiken Regional today. Those wildfires still raging out of control out west with dozens of people.
And Sally is expecting to bring us a lot of rain, folks. That could trigger some flood alerts across the area. While I'm looking at that full forecast coming up.
Joe Biden message.
If you're looking to earn some extra money, you have all the tools to start your own business right here in the smartphone.
The cameras on smartphones are good enough to take photos used by some of the biggest companies in the world. Jamie Tucker explains how you can cash in.
It has never been easier to take great photos. We have a great camera with us pretty much all the time. Even amateur photographers can take photos that make people go, wow. Look at these photos. Winners of the Shot on iPhone contest. Random pictures of things we see every day. Well, brands and bloggers are looking for photos similar to these for their websites. And if you take or have taken great photos before, here's a way you can get seen, maybe get paid. Fope is a smartphone app where you can upload photos you take and sell them. Photos to yourself for $10 each. Fope gets half, so you make $5 for each sale. But you can sell the same photo multiple times. Fope also has missions set up by brands looking for a specific type of photo. To join a mission, though, you'll have to purchase Fope coins. 2020 is another option. Upload photos, add tags and a description. Companies may find yours to use on websites and branding. The payout isn't as much, about $2 a photo, but 2020 also has challenges that pay a lot more. Current challenges are for photos that are bright and colorful. Guys Night, picking fruits and vegetables, that pays $100 for the best photo chosen by other users. I took this random photo of my daughter on her smartphone and entered it into the best new photographer category. Now, granted, you may not make enough money to make this a full-time photography career, but it is easy to upload them, and if the photo is good enough, you can sell it over and over again. By the way, if you shoot with an iPhone, you can also enter the Shot on iPhone competition that Apple has. Just upload it to Instagram with the hashtag Shot on iPhone. That's What the Tech. I'm Jamie Tucker.
I don't know about you, but I just took a picture of my screen twice watching that story because he's giving us all side hustles now, isn't he?
I know. I just downloaded it while I was watching the story. But yeah, that's a quick way to make money that would just be left on the ground, basically.
Why waste those photos stuck in your phone?
Yeah.
It's just money sitting there.
Pretty cool.
Let's have a look outside Navarre Beach near Pensacola. It is a lousy day along the Gulf Coast, all because of Hurricane Sally. It is a large storm. It's still not on shore, and Riley's been tracking all this with a look at what we'd expect here. And Riley, that's going to be a lot of rain.
Definitely is, Richard, and that's the big problem with Sally right now is that it's not moving all that quickly, only 2 miles per hour, and it's not expected to really pick up its pace until we get to Thursday and Friday. So this system still off the coast, at least the center, that eye we always talk about, that is still over open water here, about 60 miles south of the mouth of the Mississippi River. It is still a Cat 1 storm, so not quite as strong as yesterday, but it is expected to weaken as soon as it does move onshore even more and fairly rapidly. By the time it reaches us in the CSRA Thursday into Friday, most likely a tropical depression. We're not really worried about the wind with Sally. We are worried about the rain, though. Take a look at these projected rainfall totals. In some of our western and northern counties, places like Wilkes County, Lincoln County, McCormick, possibly getting close to half a foot of rain in about a 48-hour time span. So that is significant rainfall, folks, and definitely enough to wash out roads, cause flash flooding across the area. And we've seen this happen up in Wilkes County and Edgefield County within the last year. We've seen those type of impacts. So this is going to be one of those rain events that likely will trigger some flood alerts for us. But it's most likely going to be confined in smaller areas. Notice the difference in rain totals from the southern and eastern CSRA and the northern and western. Now, this is highly dependent on the eventual track of this system, so this gradient can shift north and south depending on where this storm eventually goes. So there is that potential for us to see maybe a little bit less if that heavy rain threat moves north, but it could also push a little bit further south and bring those higher totals closer towards us here in the metro. As of right now, these are our current counties underneath a flash flood watch. That includes Jefferson, Glasscock, Warren, Tolliver, Wilkes, Hancock, and Washington. I would not be surprised if we see more of these issued for our counties closer towards the metro as we head into tonight and tomorrow if models continue to show that heavy rain threat. Now, we're not expecting the heaviest rain from Sally until we get to Wednesday night and then throughout the day on Thursday. That's when that really heaviest rainfall is expected to move through. For most of the day Wednesday tomorrow, just kind of isolated the scattered showers, nothing all too heavy. So that flash flood risk mainly Wednesday night and throughout the day Thursday. Here's a current look at Sally. You can still see that center offshore, but this heavy rain banding is already triggering flash flood warnings across many portions of that Florida panhandle. So impacts are already being felt. They're already seeing storm surge, flash flooding, and those conditions just going to be moving northward. We're staying dry this evening and tonight. The rain chance is going to be going up Wednesday, but watch what happens Wednesday night and Thursday. That's when that real wall of rain starts to move through for us. So it's going to be active as starting Wednesday night throughout the day on Thursday. Luckily, by the weekend, a strong front moves on through, brings us some mornings in the 50s by Sunday.
Thanks, Riley. Hard to believe, but this guy is actually working in a convenience store right there. We're going to show you what's on the other end coming up in 3 minutes.
We know
S&P is responsible for the content of this ad.
Technology takes another step to help workers keep a safer distance from customers. One of the biggest convenience store chains in Japan just setting up its first robot worker at a store in Tokyo. The robot they call Model T after America's iconic Ford automobile. You see it there. 7 feet tall, 3 fingers on each of its 2 hands, along with cameras and microphones and sensors. But the shop staffers control it remotely using virtual reality, and the company making the robot does not sell them. They rent them out, but you can see the guy on the right and the robot there on the left, and there's your new convenience store operator.
That seems a little too Matrixy for me.
Isn't that crazy?
I'm a little freaked out.
It's scary.
Okay, Lego is working to be more environmentally friendly. The toy company is going to start using recyclable packaging by next year. Development of those new bags has been going on for a couple of years now, but Lego plans to make all of their packaging sustainable by the end of 2025.
And Facebook working to become more environmentally conscious. Today, the social media company launched a new Climate Science Information Center. You might have seen it already. Facebook says it's intended to connect you to factual and up-to-date climate information, and all this comes ahead of Climate Week next week. Facebook also says the company's global operations will achieve net zero carbon emissions and be 100% supported by renewable energy this year.
We do have the risk for flash flooding across the area over the next few days. We'll have a look at that forecast again for you coming up.
Wreck on the highway.
These farmers really have their ducks in a row, all 10,000 of them. They are used for pest control for the rice crop in Thailand. This drone video shows the amazing view. You can see them heading straight for those flooded fields. They know where the bugs are at.
You know, that may be the most ducks I've ever seen on television right here. This is a way of tradition for a long time. If you're wondering why they don't fly away, this breed of duck actually has trouble flying because of its weight, but that is a river.
Probably
of
because
ducks.
they're eating too many snails. Of course they've got a weight problem.
They're going after it right there.
Man, that's wild.
That is cool stuff right there. No ducking around by any means. Mostly cloudy tonight to tomorrow morning. Not expecting much rain throughout this evening if you are stepping out. Temperatures generally in the mid-60s tomorrow morning. We have the chance for scattered showers throughout the day. Wednesday, our temperature is going to be pretty cool, only topping out in the upper 70s to mid-70s. Rain chance is going to be really going up Wednesday night throughout the day on Thursday. Not getting done until we get through Friday, and then a nice weekend in store.
Thank you, Riley. That's going to wrap it up for News 12 first at 5, but the news continues in 3 minutes for News 12 at 6 o'clock. See you then.